And shortly, I'm going to introduce Chris Nunn. Most of you would know Chris Nunn. He's always the top one, two, or three agents at BresicWhitney. Chris worked in fashion before he got into real estate. Joined BresicWhitney 10 years ago, Chris?
15.
15, shit. Yeah, you're right, actually, because I've been gone for 5.5. 15 years ago, always he went to our Glebe office. He literally started with like from retail straight into real estate. And it's been a great story actually. Like I've seen Chris go from where a lot of you guys are at, one sale or not less than where behind you guys, zero to one sale a month to two sales a month to, a team to um, one of the leading agents at BW to selling a big warehouse I remember when Chris sold his warehouse in Camperdown and it really put Chris on the map. It was like a $4 or $5 million sale in Camperdown, Annandale. And and that was his first big sale out there. And then he just started to get a roll on. And, he had a great team. He's coached a guy called Nick Playfair who went out. So he was an associate, worked alongside him for about 5, 6, 7 years, went out as an agent 2 years ago. And now Nick's actually doing well in his own right. Chris has got three kids. Chris,
Yep.
three kids. He's a director of BresicWhitney. He's always a top 50 agent in the REB. Good to have you along, my man. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you.
Good to see you.
I'm going away at the end of May, and I got everything launching next week to sell 2 days before I go. Um, just handling that and then building a pipeline for after I get back.
What are you most anxious about? Sorry.
Uh, just getting everything sold before I go away so I don't leave everyone hanging.
Yeah, Chris, you don't take big holidays with the family, do you?
Uh, I did in Europe last year, like in July. But they're all very it's all scheduled. So I sort of campaigns are wrapping before I leave. I'm not starting any campaigns for 3 or 4 weeks. If there is one or two campaigns that just have to go, we just make sure they're cool that Luke or Hannah or someone launches them sort of a week before I get back, and then I'll just be there week 2 or something like that.
Yeah. So your advice to Jack, he's trying to get, some stock sold before he goes for 3 weeks, your advice to him is what?
In terms of getting them shifted.
Yeah. And also he's saying, well, how do I build a pipeline? How do I time my pipeline for when I get back? So if someone
Yeah.
said, Chris, I want to list with you, but you're in Italy for 3 weeks, how do you deal with that?
Well, I can tell you what I did do last year, and that was just late night phone calls, which might be somebody's early morning over here. I'd have Zoom meetings and so on. I'd just a little bit, matrixy, matrix. There is no spoon, so it's like I'm on holiday, but there's nothing that's going to stop me, still meeting with these people. Luke would go in, so I guess it pays to have someone who you sort of trust can be there as your proxy. So
Yeah.
it was a combination of Zoom meetings, Luke going in, sometimes a second meeting where Luke would go in, and then I'd be on a Zoom meeting and so on. So I actually just continued to list. I think we actually listed about 4 or 5 while I was away that
Yeah.
way.
So Jack, you would effectively you would do what you can up until that point and have listings ready to go when you get back, and then just have to hand stuff off to Jasmine and Oddie. That's basically what you have to do.
Yeah.
Pete, do you want Pete Hannon? Can you ask that? Because I got that confused. Do you want to ask your question, your thing with Chris?
Yeah, hey Chris. So
Hey.
I'm getting into some good tours at the moment, but I'm finding that our market's pretty flat. But where I'm pricing them, the vendors are a good 10% or more above that, and therefore they're either choosing to list with other people that are being more confident, you could say,
On,
are just
on
not selling
price. On price. So
on price. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so the question, Chris, is the concern or the challenge that Pete's having is he's going into listings and saying it's worth 3.5 million. Other
Mm.
people are saying it's 4 million. He's losing those listings.
Yeah. 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 So we get that every day, and I don't think it's anything you can avoid. It's pretty damn common. I lose listings on price sometimes too, certainly. Um, uh, I try as hard as I can to not promise a price, more make it around the type of buyers that we're going to put it in front of. So if an owner's at 4 million, you think it's 3.5. I try to keep the conversation focused on, look, I'm going to put this in front of buyers like up to 4.5, and I'll try and get some great feedback for you. Obviously, I'm not the one buying it. I've got every confidence in the world that it's a great property. People are going to be excited by it. I'm going to get it in front of as many people up to 4.5 as I can, and then we'll never die wondering, how does that sound?
That's good. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you take away from that, Pete? Because that's beautiful, Chris. What do you take away from that?
Well, it's more so that what I'm pricing at doesn't necessarily. Let's put it in front of the buyers that have got that sort of money and that budget, and
Yeah.
let them sort of decide on its value, and let them come back with the feedback. So it means that you can go back to the vendor and be like, look, I can support you in your pricing, but let's get the buyers through it and see what they say.
Yeah. So what Chris, do you mind, Chris, if I sort of summarize
Yeah.
that? What Chris is doing really well is he's not becoming a valuer. He's not saying this is definitely worth 3.5, 4, or 4.5. He's just saying, I think based on these, it's 3.5. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Vendor, I've got buyers up to 4.5. Let's bring those buyers. So he's just leave. All Chris is doing is he's trying not to talk about the price. He's just leaving it very open, because Chris knows that if he takes a hard edge that it's 3.5, he's going to lose that listing. So he's just saying to the, like you said, Pete, he's keeping the option open to the vendor. Let's get some 4.5 buyers through, which Maclay does extremely well. So that's really good, Chris, if that makes sense, Pete.
I just say it's good to reference, just in terms of your product knowledge. That's where it comes in as well. Is that you probably do have a few cases that you can reference of your competitors where they priced it at one thing, it's sold significantly lower. So you can sort of say, you can see, and usually obviously you don't want to reference your own properties, but other people's properties, you can see where that missed the mark, that missed the mark, that missed the mark. I don't want to be someone who starts a relationship off, over promising, under delivering, and kind of just telling you what you want to hear. But, I certainly do have buyers that I can show up to 4.5 mil.
That's a good one.
Yep.
A question that's one of the concerns, if you look at the chat, Chris, Mel has said that, she feels like she's got lower stock levels. Nicole French has said similarly that she would like better stock levels. Sorry, I won't say Nicole. That's more time management. Jackson, do you want to just say your thing, Jacko?
Yeah, of course. Hey, Ivan.
Hello.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Quick one is, I've lost a lot of market share in the market that I typically operate in. And so I've got one that's going to be coming on in about 2 weeks' time. So for me, it's like, okay, what can I do maybe differently to what I typically do to really catapult myself back into the market and start building up that market share again?
Well, so key listings are, key listings for your marketplace. Like, I'm not sure what your marketplace is, but key listings in those marketplaces are the most, there's nothing more propelling than having a listing that the suburb or region where you are takes notice of. And obviously you're a part of that too, like how you market them and also how you facilitate your open homes and so on is obviously important. You're always on show. But I would say a combination. So a combination of, if your marketing's really sharp, if your photos are really sharp, if you're doing, if your sort of level of service is really outstanding in terms of who comes through and your follow up and so on. But around the type of listing, if you've got anything you're chasing that would be an absolute thumper if you manage to list it, you just I'd focus all my efforts, 300% on those. Not that obviously if you've got smaller listings or more sort of everyday listings that you don't give them the attention that they deserve also, but in my experience and for my career, listing certain noteworthy properties is an awesome PR exercise. So if you're losing market share, but you list a thumper, suddenly you'll be back on the map. And then flash forward to today, I got rid of a sort of systemized, coach, and I now more have a mindset coach that's got to do with detaching yourself from the outcome. So that's my focus. My focus is, look, it's not about can I list another listing, can I sell another property. It's more that wouldn't bring me, a lot of pride or enthusiasm, because I know that I can do that and I will do that. But it's more, how gracefully can I do it? How can I list that property, sell that property, not bring work home with me, have a great night with the kids and a great night with the family.